listen to this episode if you are listen to this episode if you have ever felt nauseated by the fact of the amount of money that you're bringing in, or you're worried about the growth of your business and what that would do if you do make that amount of money. Now, I know that this might sound like an absolutely crazy concept to some of you that are listening, but it's actually a conversation that I have really often with my clients. And that conversation is, Maddie, my business just 20x'd. My business has all of a sudden started bringing in 30K months, 35. I just set a goal for a 45K month. Oh my gosh, that all of a sudden makes me a little nauseous and it sounds like a ton of money. I can't even stomach it. And I know this might be something that so many of you guys would dream of, and you're like, no, I don't think I would feel that way. I would welcome it and I would love it. But I want to talk about this idea of either the fear of success or the feeling of like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. And almost like the guilt around that in a day-to-day, because honestly, I don't feel like it's talked about enough. This is something that I have felt in my business, especially from being young and feeling quote unquote like successful, or something along those lines of just kind of the overall feeling around that and kind of navigating through that idea, because it's something that a lot of my clients go through and I truly don't feel like it's talked about enough. If you're new here, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Small Business Growth Podcast. I am your host, Madison Page, and I help brands build communities around their brand on social media. I like to teach you how to stand out and sell out so you can build this wildly successful brand through online channels. If you are not new here, welcome back, girlfriend. We do like to teach in a fun conversational type of way around here. I like to say it's kind of like sipping coffee with a biz bestie, where you and I are really sitting down and just chatting and having a conversation. If you didn't know, we are over on YouTube, and I know the majority of you are not subscribed over on YouTube. Make sure that you go over there and subscribe. We are getting close to 75, 100 subscribers and would love to get there. That is just such a fun channel for us to chat through, where you're actually sitting there having conversation with me face to face in my cozy little cabin that I'm in for the winter. You'll be able to come with me through my travels and all the things. It's really fun. So, kind of diving into this topic, and I know, again, I want to like preface it by saying, I know that there's some of you guys that would really die to have this feeling. You were like, Maddie, if I was making 30K months, holy cow, my life would change. But you also have to think about that, where some of my clients do this in 3 to 4 months. Some of my clients make more money in 3 to 4 hours in their business than they do in a month in their 9 to 5. Or some of my clients have had, I'm thinking of one particularly, like she was making her biggest sales month ever in 2023 was $3,500, and it is January 16th while I'm recording this, and she has already like scaled over a $30,000 sales month in this year already, in like halfway through the month. And so if you're thinking about that, and she started that business in November. And so if you're thinking about that, some people see incredibly rapid growth, and it can be kind of a scary concept, because all of a sudden you have all of this money coming in. You honestly, a lot of times, don't even know what to do with it, and you start to feel kind of this guilt. And honestly, I don't even have anything scripted around this episode, which I normally don't script it, but I at least have some sort of layout. But I really just want to like kind of talk through this process with you, because it is something that I have felt in the past as well. I have been surrounded by people that I didn't feel like, that I knew like weren't making as much money as me. They didn't have like the same style of goals that I had. And I talked about this in my episode of like permission to have big goals. If you are striving to be one of these people that you're like, you wish you could be like, holy cow, look at how much money, I can't even believe it. I'm slightly nauseated. Like, I don't know what's going on here. if you're striving to be there, let this be your permission slip that it is so much quicker, it's so much closer than you think. It's so much more doable than you could ever imagine, because this is why that nauseating feeling happens there, is because a lot of times we like believe in ourselves, but like deep down we still have doubts, and then when all of a sudden those doubts start to be proved wrong, you're all of a sudden like slapped in the face with, holy cow, this is here. And so I want to talk to a couple of different types of people in this episode. The first one is if you're striving for this level of success, it's closer than you think. The second one is if you are front and center with this feeling right now of like, holy cow, I just like, I can't believe this is happening. First things first, congratulate yourself. I just want you to like take a second and be like, holy cow, this actually is happening. And it's something you can repeat from here on out. I think a big fear when this happens is, okay, I don't want to get too excited, but if I get too excited, you almost feel like it'll be too real, and then if it ever goes away, you'll be bummed. Understanding if you did it once, you can double it easily. If you did it once, you could do it again. And so understanding that now that you have done this sales month, now that you have been at this number, now that you are here, you can do it again. It just is going to take strategy and really being intentional around all of the things that you are doing. And sometimes it's not going to. Sometimes it stays easy. It stays the same way that it felt right now for a little bit of time. But understanding that this is part of business. This is part of when you start making more money, is feeling this way, because the more successful you get in business, honestly, and I hear this a lot from my scaling clients, that they feel a little bit more lonely in their day-to-day life. And this is something that I felt when my business grew rapidly this time last year. I remember being like, calling my boyfriend being like, holy cow, it just like, it feels surreal. It just feels like, it almost feels to a guilty point. But what you have to do is you have to push that guilt away and say, you deserve this. This didn't happen overnight. This is from you being consistent and learning, and every program you've taken, every podcast you've listened to, every course you've taken, whatever that might be, you have built every post that you made, every story that you created, every product that you made, there is so much that went into this growth that you have, that you deserve it. You deserve it, and you have to tell yourself that. Otherwise, that deeply rooting belief of not being enough and not being worthy of this will actually hold you back from more growth. And so you have to allow yourself to do it. If it makes you feel better, go splurge on something. One of my clients, she was like, we just bought a new couch, and she's like, we just needed to do something, and like, go splurge on something. Go on a little staycation, go on a vacation, like go and do something that makes you feel like a celebration of a huge sales month, of a launch. Don't let it get like routine. And of course, like month after month after month, that it kind of starts to dwindle for at least like the excitement there. But at least for the first few, play it up. Like, you are doing something that people would dream of. You're doing something that's pretty dang cool. Get out there and really, truly celebrate it. Whether it's getting a massage, that was always mine. Like, I'm going to treat myself to a spa day. Whether it's getting a massage, a facial, whatever. Like, whatever your thing is. Some people buy couches, but maybe it's paying off debt. Like, whatever it might be, do something that feels even like so dang good to be able to pay for that in full. To be able to look at it. Maybe you want to revamp your website. Maybe that's something you've been putting off in your business because it's so expensive. Then you go and you like put the inquiry out there and get yourself a website. Do something to celebrate when you are feeling this way. As well as we have to look at this feeling. And this brings me to the third person I want to speak to, is people that are afraid of this success, or when they are there and they're feeling this like guilt around it, is that you actually have a feeling that you are not worthy of receiving this level of success in life. This comes down to a deeply rooted insecurity, and I am right there with you. This was something that I was like slapped in the face with when I had a conversation with somebody that had been where I am and has had successful businesses. As she said, Maddie, it is a lonely life. You have to surround yourself with people that understand what you're doing, and you have to surround yourself by people that you can speak to with numbers and things that other people wouldn't be scared about. And so that was one of my major goals last year. I talked to her and she was like, you have to surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that have businesses like you. And that was one of my major goals last year. I flew to New York City. I drove to North Carolina. I like met up strategically. I had monthly calls with one of my friends that had a similar business to me. So you can be surrounded by other people. You need to find a network of driven entrepreneurs that make it more normal, that make it more seem like it's more accessible, that make it seem like you are not the odd one out. Because when you are in this business or you are making money, and this is not to say like, oh my gosh, like I'm making so much money. This is literally to say, and you understand it if you're in this spot, this is me telling you that it is normal. It is accessible. Maybe it's not normal, but it's common, maybe is a better word for it. I don't know. It is something that happens to people, that they are able to build their business and they are able to make the amount of money that you are making right now, where you kind of are feeling nauseated. And everybody's number is different, whether it's a 5K month, whether it's an 800 or an 8K, 10K, 20, 30, whatever. There gets to be a point, maybe it's 100, like no matter what you're doing, people, like this is what you dreamt of. And if you one time dreamt of it and it seemed impossible to you, it seemed way too far out, and now you're far exceeding that, like that number, it can feel where you're kind of like, oh God, like what did I do to get here? How did I get here? Do I deserve this? Like what are people around me thinking? And I heard somebody on Instagram say this, and I think her name is Jamie C, S-E-A. She's like a wealth expansion something or other. And what she said was, money only enhances what's already inside of you. So if you were a good person before you had money, you will continue to be a good person and you will use your money for good. If you were a bad or malicious or had flaws and had gaps in your morals before you had money, then it will only enhance those things. And that's not for me to say like you're good or you're bad, but because you're listening to this and because you're already feeling this way, I know you are on the good side of that. I know that you will use your money to give back, or to be a better mom, to be a better business owner, to keep having the impact, to expand, to volunteer, to give to charity, whatever that might be to you. That if you had an extra $10,000 right now that you couldn't use on yourself, what would you use it on? I know that you are a good person. It will only enhance the good in you. Something I also heard is Mel Robbins, who she's like in the self-development world. I love her podcast. She's somebody that I listen to really, really often. And something that she said that was her thing when she started being like more successful is every time she went out to dinner, she ordered every dessert on the menu. It was just her thing. It was like, this was me having more fun, not feeling like I needed to buy people's meals, and not feeling like the obligation to just like spend money on people. And because some people, that's not actually a positive. You just start buying everybody things, which is another thing that I hear really often is people like, well, I just want to like buy all my friends things, or I always want to like treat my friends to things. And that again is coming from a place of guilt that you want to give. It might feel like it's coming from a very good place, but that doesn't always feel good for everybody around you when you're actually buying them things. And this is where Mel Robbins was like, it's not something that people would do for themselves, so I do it for them. This is me buying every dessert on the menu as something that's fun, and as an addition. They still get to pay for their own meals, but I get to have this like fun thing that makes me feel really good. Especially if one of your love languages is gift giving or acts of service or things that really are like, let me give you something, as mine are. It was when my business like blew up, and it was something where I had to stop myself from buying my boyfriend new clothes all the time and like out to dinner all the time. Like, it's like I always wanted to pay for everything. I really wanted to do these, but again, that's coming from a place of lack, that you feel like because you've gotten it, you need to give and you need to go from all of these places. Again, that's coming from such a good place. It's coming from you wanting to enhance the good inside of you, but we have to look back and find our thing that we're going to kind of channel that towards. Now, first things first, this isn't me saying when you make a lot of money, you gotta go and spend it. This isn't me saying that you can't buy people things. This isn't me saying you can't buy yourself things, because Also, in your business, something that is very strategic is where you can place your money. My dad's a financial advisor, and it would have been one of my first calls to a bookkeeper or a financial advisor when my business started to be fruitful was, where can I put my money for the longevity of it? And it's not that we want to spend it all the time. A lot of the money gets reinvested back into the business. A lot of money goes into further education, further supplies, further like manufacturing or packaging or influencers or things like that that can further grow your business. A, do something for yourself. B, if you are a person that really wants to give, then you have to identify what that thing is that you like to give. How do you like to do something? A lot of times I will like buy the first round if we go out somewhere, or I'll buy the appetizer because again, that's an add-on. Like that's not something people, I guess buying a round is what people would normally be paying, but an appetizer, like I'll take it because it's an add-on that not everybody will do. Or bringing a gift when I come to their house or something that's not expected. And that, I mean, again, everybody gives in different ways. I would rather give you a gift on a day that you're not thinking about giving a gift than give you a gift on your birthday or Christmas, even though those are times that you would almost expect it a little bit more, because I think that spontaneity and the like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting this is way more fun, coming from a gift giver. But when you are feeling this way, that was a total tangent. When you are feeling this like nauseating fact around money, is you can actually stunt your growth. If you actually start feeling that way, you will stop being able to get bigger. You will stop your business to be able to grow because you feel like you're capped, because you already feel like you've hit the ceiling and you're like, holy cow, this is awesome. You need to have that drive now to like more and more. And that doesn't always mean I need more sales and I need more money. Is how can we improve? How can we expand from here? Business in general is a numbers game. If you are not somebody that is powered by money, honestly, I'm not powered by money, but I can look at my business and I can be competitive with myself. I can say, okay, I made X amount of dollars last year, let's double it. Like, let's do this. And here's how I'm going to do that. It's more of a competition with myself for how can I consistently grow my business. Your business is a numbers game. You have to get comfortable saying big numbers. You have to get comfortable. Something that my parents said like right away is they were like, Maddie, I wouldn't tell everybody about your success. You have to understand the people that it's okay to talk to with numbers and things like that. And there's other people that it's not going to be as productive. And I saw that. I lost friends. I had people say some crazy things that I thought were like my ride or die people. And I saw their opinion of me change as my business continued to grow and I kept pushing for it to grow more. It's something that if you want to keep, you have to kind of toy that line. You have to feel in your own self, is this something I want to share? And if the response is bad, how will I feel about that? Now you have to find the people, and this is why surrounding yourself with people that this is their normal too is really important. This is why in some of my scaling programs, I will